YouTube crowd. Hey, Mini VDM, good to see you. Al Rice, good to see you. Hey, Jules, Darlene Moniz, how's it going? Hey, good morning to you as well. How's it going? Oh man, still waking up. Happy Sunday. Morning, Lacey, good to see you. What's your name? Good morning. As well, that's good. Thank you. You're welcome. What else she asked about G? Dave Sultana, will she ask about G tomorrow? I'm getting yes, at least probably. My body pendulum swinging to yes, and they're saying probably. So there's kind of no reason she wouldn't, is what I'm hearing. Call me Jess. Good morning. How's it going? Isabella, Lily, how's it going? Hi. How is life for everybody today? Ooh. Playing Final Fantasy 14 and needed some pick-me-up. That sounds fun. I've never played that game, but that sounds fun. Okay. Good morning, Marina. Water time. Okay, let's delve into these questions here. Be sure to throw your questions in the Q&A, and that way I'll have a better chance of seeing them, just because chat will scroll by really quickly otherwise. Let's see, what was the next question? So, MC831203 asks, anything for me today? Yeah, again, like, the message I'm getting first and foremost for you is just make sure you're not following other people's opinions or the crowd. There are a lot of popular ideas that are false, so just make sure something really resonates for you and feels true for you. Otherwise, you might end up feeling a bit stuck. Not that you'll be permanently stuck. That's not the question at all. That's just the first message they want to bring through for you. I also get this message, like I pull this card, it's Aurora of Gamma. That's from the Alana Fairchild White Light Oracle. I really like the deck. Honestly, the message I get with this is be sure to shine, like shining your lights, and even like being a light for others. And don't be afraid to let's see. Don't be afraid to stand out, honestly, and for your opinions to differ and for what you say to be different. It's kind of like a be you kind of message, honestly. And don't feel like you have to curtail to other people's points of view. And like the question I get is like, maybe you see some of this, but like, do they ever really curtail to yours? It's like, for some reason, something they want to ask as a question. And like, they also want to say, don't ever believe you're lesser than others, or that you don't have as much to bring to the table. Like, sure, maybe there's some skill sets you want to or need to develop, but that doesn't mean you're intrinsically less valuable as a being, and that's something they want to say for you as well. So it's kind of like it's almost like a go your own way kind of message that they like to bring through. Like, don't feel like you need to follow everyone else. Excuse me. That's kind of what I get. That's what I get for you, and I hope that helps. MC83. I lost the numbers. And thanks for the rose, Jalissa. Okay. Next question. Too Cool Party Ghouls says, hi, my ears have been ringing. Are they messages? I get ascension, honestly. What I get is like, it's not really for you. It's not really messages. It's a sign, and it's something that lets you know, like for me, when I get a lot of etheric downloads, like my ears start to ring. Like I just get a lot of energy coming in, and it's usually ascension downloads. And like right now my ears are ringing, honestly, and I feel the energy coming through. And it doesn't get in the way of channeling or anything else. That's just one thing I'm noticing. But that's more what I get for you. Is like, I'd pay attention to high frequency energies, and does that make your ears ring? Because it's more of like a sign of that is what I get. Hope that helps. Oh, I'm still waking up, guys, so. During meditation, seeing strobe lights normal? Yeah, I get activation, honestly. There's nothing abnormal about it, is what I get, honestly. uh, Usually, if you're seeing things, that's a good thing. Honestly, it's because that's your intuitive visuals typically showing you something, um, but you're seeing things for a reason, is what I'd say. I don't think that's definitely not bad. That's what I'd say. Um, the Davis Girl 23 asks, "Will my dream house scenario work out for me?" Yes, I get it eventually. I get the words "not right away," so it might be eventually where you have more of what you're looking for. It might not be like tomorrow, but I do get you'll get a dream house is what I get for you. So I don't know. Are you in a dream house scenario right now? You want to work out? I get the keyword of patience, and usually when patience comes through, it's like, yeah, this can and or will happen. Uh, Stick it out. Fortitude is another word that comes to me about the situation. So, um, am I ever gonna get someone to do a backflip? One day, mama. Will you actually ever get someone to do a backflip? Yeah, I think so. If you haven't already, probably not gonna be me today, but. Raise 968. Will I be happy at my new job? Um, yes. What I get is yes for the most part. Like you're gonna have potentially some like duller days or days you're just like, it's work. But one I get is happier than usual, like compared to other jobs, at least at par, and you won't be unhappy. But I was getting a weird message like you might be happier over time as it progresses, as you get more familiar with the surroundings and as people shuffle around and you find the people you like. But overall, yeah, I get it. It's at least going to be okay for you. It's definitely worth switching to that new job, if you were wondering. Shokei1 asks, love reading, please. Yeah. I get it's in the works, like in the etheric. It's like you might even have multiple suitors because they're talking about multiple suitors for you. Potentially in the near future. I get there will likely be an option in December that's coming around, or someone that pops up. Is it someone you're already talking to? No. I kind of get like 2022, 2023. I don't kind of get, it's what I'm hearing. Will be like, it's almost like a new love story is the words I get, where you kind of have things kind of click into place. Will it be perfect, perfect, perfect? Kind of unlikely, but it's going to be like better than the past. And you'll have people you've actually been wanting to date or people you would actually like to date kind of showing up. I get highly likely by the end of 2022 you'll have someone, pretty much is what I'm getting. But you might have to choose from a few people based on what I'm getting. Just any advice on that? Just make sure it's someone who actually like speaks to you and to your heart, but it's like energetically, like you like definitely resonate with them. It's not just like a body connection to something they're saying, which would be more like lust, which there's nothing wrong with lust, honestly. Like it's just human desire. What's wrong with that? Nothing. It's, don't you want to have that? It makes things more fun. I don't know. I think it does, but that's what I'm kind of hearing for you. And don't be surprised if someone just pops out of nowhere as something they're adding in last second, like out of the blue. because sometimes these things happen when you least expect it. It's like your mind kind of gets off of something and you're focused on something else and it just pops up. And I know that's not always the case. Like sometimes like you're on Tinder and you're looking for it and you're like, oh, here it is. But for you, I'm hearing it might be out of the blue. And I definitely know I've had my experiences of that where it's just like, I'm thinking about it for months. And then like 1 week, I just stopped thinking about it and it's like, oh, here it is. So keep that in mind as well. And then, okay, there's more information for you. What's that about? Just like also what they want to bring in for you, Cheryl, is just pay attention to how they treat other people. Like, of course, like this sounds a little bit, it's just what they're saying, like wait staff or just people in their lives, because that will be like a hint of how they'll treat you in the future. And just stay away from controlling people. You just don't need that in your life, is something they're saying as well. So hope that helps. Lakota Lodge, I have a guy that has been talking to me lately from years ago, wanting to hang out with me. Should I? I get the message there's no reason not to, honestly, unless you feel there's a reason not to. Is he the best option for you? No, I get he's not the best option, but at least it would be fun as something they're talking about for you. And he's a good option, just not the best. But they're actually recommending you don't date him long term. Lakota Lodge is something they're saying. Keep in mind it's Mercury in retrograde, so like, yeah, sometimes people from the past will just show up and be like, hey, thinking of you, so keep that in mind as well. And yes, with that singing phrase exactly, that's how it always works. That's a joke, of course. Prince Priestess, how can I find passion for life again? Existential. Let's see what they want to say for you. I'm sure you've already been asking. So I kind of get it's gonna be in your relationships will be like the kindling for the fire. And like the thing they're mentioning is like, don't forget there's things that you're passionate about that you need to keep working on, whether it's projects, even if you think it's something that, if it's like a song you don't think will ever see the light of day, or I don't think you paint, but you might paint. If it's a painting that you're just gonna like shove under your bed or hang up on your wall for only you to see, like even minor things that you enjoy are important. And for you, it's almost like a building of passion. It's like, I just see it starting with a kindling, and as you add more to that fire with like logs or like ideas or creativity, it like grows. Like there might be a few, if you find anything you're passionate about right now, I would focus on those. I would dedicate some time to your day to those things, because that can like lead to more enjoyment of life. So what else? Like, and they're even talking about finding inspiration outside of you as well. This is kind of lame advice. Maybe it's not, but they're like, because they're even talking about going to a museum. I don't think, is that literally the thing that you're going to do and it sparks passion for your life? Maybe, but it's more like, where can you draw inspiration from that's like new and different and not the same old thing, is what they're talking about. I also get this message like you're coming online as you're not passionate. So I'm not saying you need to be not passionate to come online, but it's almost like there's a few things being like worked or rolled out while you're kind of blah. It will spark back up again, but as far as the advice of how to do that, that's a lot of what I mean. What else would help you spark passion back in your life? The other thing they're saying for you is try not to get focused up on other people's problems to the best of your ability, like too much. Try to like focus on yourself as well. I guess like I don't think this is the core of what's going on, but the message they're giving me is like sometimes when you get focused on other people's problems, like you kind of get to what's the points. But that's not the only thing that happens, really, honestly, is what I get for you as well. Anything else for you that would help rekindle passion? One thing that also came through is I was talking with some friends last night, and they were talking about how a different mutual friend was all about, yeah, every 18th, like the October 18th is like a yes for anything you've been like waiting on or looking for, which makes sense because Mercury goes direct. I think like some other planet goes direct. Was it Saturn? One planet goes direct today too. So there's a lot of planets going direct astrologically, where it's like things that are just like blah are probably gonna be like, okay, there's a little bit more of like a emotion here, a bit more of a forward movement, a bit of a relief as well. And I also get a bit of a freshening energy in general with that astrology when I'm sitting with it right now, where it's just kind of like things get freshened up. And it's not like refreshed, it's more like metaphorically a minty sparkle is kind of put on things, and so you'll be a little bit less blah as well. But one thing they're talking about right now is you're kind of par for the course, Prince Priestess, with like where you're feeling that way. There's a lot of people that are a little bit like I don't want to say passionless, but like not feeling it right now. What else do they want to say? The common advice as well that comes to me as well is more like, this is more intuitive than channeled, I would say, is like, just kind of keep in mind, like, life isn't forever, and like you might as well get the most in a healthy way out of it while we're here. And I'm not trying to scare you, it's just something that usually helps me to at least find a bit more enjoyment in my days, is something I'd say. And like to go back to the original point, and then it's like, in some ways you haven't found the people that spark that passion in you. And of course there's more to life than just like other people, but it definitely helps when you have the right people who like awaken that in you, and they're coming. Potentially November, you'll have more connections that are like helping you remember your passion, because it's more of an uncovering than it is like you lost your passion. Hope that helps and gives anything to go off of. It's coming back though. And sometimes people just go through phases, honestly. Have I met anyone who's been super passionate about life all the time? No. Honestly, I don't think that I have. It kind of comes in like spurts and waves, and it's not like you're losing anything through this time period, you're actually gaining, period. Traylon 77, general, oops, you probably said something else. But general reading works. Open the deck. Honestly, with this card coming out, the word I get for this is discernment with Archangel Samael. Choose harmonious responses, act with wisdom and grace. Just make sure you're like being discerning with the people you allow into your circle, is something they're saying. You also have abundance coming in, abundance on the rise, Archangel Charity. And I know it's not yet, it's more like in the ramp up and maybe in the beginning phases, but it's something that will be more prominent in your life in the years ahead, is what they're saying. So what else? They also want to give this message, like, make sure you're speaking your truth. Even if you think people aren't ready to hear it, your voice needs to be heard, is pretty much what they're saying. And there's a quote that I'm kind of reminded of, because they played these song lyrics with the voice message, and there's also a quote that's kind of coming to me that I read yesterday, and it's something like, it's something, I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't remember the exact quote, and of course take it how it resonates, but it's like, your voice is more important than the actual like words, or it's like, it's more important that the energy of your voice is out there, because that has more of an impact than you realize, as opposed to just saying the words, pretty much is what I'm getting. That's I'm pretty sure that's a Lee Harris kind of quote, because it was on Instagram, I saw that, but it makes sense, because like sometimes people get more out of you showing up with your energy and you speaking your truth, and like the energy behind that and underneath that, more so than someone could show up in like a gray suit with a monotone voice and say the exact same thing, emotionless and expressionless, and it's like, maybe it has an impact, but it's zero impact. So that's kind of one thing they want to recommend to you, is like, don't hold back from speaking your truths. One, because you're uncertain, or two, because like you think someone won't hear you. unless it's just kind of like for sure, like, no, that person just is like, it's like talking to a brick wall. They're also like, don't be afraid of growing is something they're saying with this card coming out here. Archangel Perlimiac, let nature soothe you, serve the nature kingdom, but they said don't be afraid of growing. And there's a little sprout on this card. So what else? What's that about? I get like this message, like sometimes you think you're gonna lose something if you grow, but you're only gonna gain, and anything you lose by growing isn't really a loss, is something they're talking about. So hopefully that makes sense to you, but that's something they're talking about for that. Tennis moods. Thank you, that resonates so much, just what I needed to hear. Perfect. And sometimes these messages are not solely for the person I'm doing the general reading for. Sometimes there's, like, of course there are things that are, sometimes there's things that are for other people as well. So what else? Top card. Okay. With this card coming out, it's death. It's an oracle card. Reminds me of the death tarot card, but it's not like you're not gonna die. It's more like that kind of goes with that growth, or like a death of the old. They're also giving me the word ego, and that might be going around, because I feel like that message has been going around for a few people starting the last couple days that I've been like doing readings for people, where it's like there's a bit of an ego like loss, and it's not like a bad thing. I'm gonna get clarification on it, because it's more like growing out of old egoic patterns, but that can feel like parts of you are dying depending on where you're at or who you are. So they're also giving this weird message where it's like, and I know loss can be painful and disruptive, and it's something you have to grieve, and I'm not discounting any of that, but the message I'm hearing is like loss can actually be a good thing. One, it opens up space for more of what's actually for you. Two, you're kind of growing into a new person as you go through that grieving. And it's not one of those things that you probably want to go looking for is loss or asking for the universe for. It's more like when it happens, there's a blessing in disguise in all loss. And it's like this message, like you're never supposed to keep what you lose. And sure, if you lose a relationship, could someone come back around? Absolutely, if it's right. But at the same time, and this is something I heard that I love, it's like, I don't know why I love it, but it's like when a relationship ends, if you guys get back together, if you're going to in the future, the energy is going to be totally different because you as people have completely shifted. So you still lost that old relationship, even if there's new people, or even if it's the same people involved, excuse me. They also want me to pull one tarot card for you, so excuse me. We'll see. Whoop. Okay. Four of Wands popping out. The words I get are happiness and celebration. I also have justice popping out here as well. I get this message like you're not going to be in defeat forever. So if you feel like you've suffered a defeat, you're not going to be in that space forever. It's something you're kind of venturing out of. And I get this message like justice will be in your favor. And it's also this message of like just not yet. It's like sometimes events are still playing out where it's like the justice hasn't been served yet, and there's still more to come and more to play out. But like it's not like you've done anything wrong. It's just like sometimes justice has to be served in divine timing for full effect, is what they're saying. So don't be discouraged if I'll just say it and I'll clarify later. They're just saying like don't be discouraged if people didn't quote unquote get theirs yet, whether that's a good or a bad get theirs, I suppose, though I don't ever really condone wishing bad things on people. I do get the universe is kind of unconditionally loving and forgiving, and sometimes if people need to learn something about someone, they need to learn something like, well, yeah, about someone, but also like a lesson or just in life, like the universe can bring that lesson about in an unconditionally loving way where people aren't always just like slapped because they slapped others, because sometimes that can be counterproductive if everyone's just like, oh, I did this bad thing and now it's happening to me. Now, why happened? Because like sometimes people don't connect the dots, but sometimes people will have the dots connect in a way that makes sense, where this happens like, oh, I see the truth of that situation, and I wish I'd treated that person differently, and that's their growth, and it still affects them. But, that doesn't mean you won't get some type of recompense for having to have gone through something. Weird message. that's not really a weird message. That's just what I'm getting like right now. And there's more to it than that. It's a bit more complex. I know I'm simplifying things a little bit just with that. But Ten of Pentacles popping out, you're not on the wrong path is something I'm getting as well. That's kind of like happy home, happy life is what I'm hearing. I'm also, like, one last message I'm getting for you is, like, make sure you're creating your reality and not letting other people create it for you. And what did I say about, was it you that I was talking about discernment earlier in this reading? Because Queen of Swords is popping out here. That might have been someone else, but that's definitely a card about discernment, but also another card about justice and fairness. And oh my gosh, sorry, they're just jumping out at me. But Ace of Pentacles, new opportunity. And they're also giving this message of pick the new path. So if you have a choice between new and old, I would pick the new, is something they're talking about as well. But any endeavors you're undertaking are worth the climb of the mountain. There's mountains back here in between the archway. And that's something I get for you as well as a message. It's like anything new you want to undertake is worth the climb. So I'm sure there's way more I could go into, but that's what I'm getting for you now as pertains to this live and the reading for you. I get this message like you're worth better, Traylon, is something they're saying as well. Like if you've gone through anything difficult or a difficult situation with people, I just get this message you're worth better. So I hope that makes sense. Hey, Destiny, I am doing well today. How are you? I am enjoying this fine live. So I pulled a card and they're saying this is for everyone. So I'll just pop this out for everyone and see what message they want to bring through for everyone here right now. And then we'll get back to answering questions and stuff. But it's I'm going to unmirror it so you can see la card. But it's 417 hertz. The sun is the card. It's from all. So typically this means something different than like the Sun Tarot card, but what's the message for here? I actually get everyone here is coming into a sun phase. Will the timing be a little bit different for everyone? Yes, because everyone's kind of in a different phase or part in their life, and what this means will look a little bit different for everyone. But some of the keywords I get are like attention, positive attention, like a bit more of a focus on you and what you need, a bit more of an expansiveness, a bit more of a ramp up to happiness and joy, a bit more of like resources coming your way, or some of the messages I'm getting with this card. And for some of you, it's almost like coming out of abundance and into more abundance is something they're saying as well. So my eyes keep getting drawn to the hair in this card, because it's like it's almost like interwoven with, it almost looks like the sun energy. So I'm going to see like what is the message with that. Honestly, they're kind of, you know that movie Tangled with the girl with the long hair? The message I heard first and foremost as I looked at the hair was don't get tangled. Just make sure I guess this is something a lot of people need to hear today, but make sure you're disentangling yourself from people who bring you down, or people who don't have your best interests at heart. It's just like the sun will shine brighter on you for having left behind what doesn't serve you. And they're in my mind's eye, they're showing me like the Five of Swords. So it's like, words are like betrayal and like just kind of ickiness, or I don't normally go here with readings, but if it's the words I'm getting, it's the words I'm getting, like backstabbing. It's like, just stay away from people who do you dirty or who have done you dirty explicitly in the past, and like that opens up space for more sunlight. Obviously, that's just something they're saying, like especially with Mercury in retrograde. Like you can say hi, how's it going, bye. Like unless they've actually changed and you're aware of that and you've kind of got the signs from the universe that they're different now, then maybe go ahead and give it a shot if you and them are both changed. So it's a different dynamic, as I was talking about earlier. But don't feel like you need to go back to the past. Like there's better ahead, and sometimes you just kind of have to walk away and let that find you in the right time, because inevitably it will. Okay. That's what I'm getting for everybody. So, don't let others block your sunshine. I love that. What a great quote. That's awesome. Ramona Bolin, should I leave my job? I mean, ultimately, yes, but not yet. I would give it a little bit of a period before you jump ship, and make sure the transition is stable, as the advice they're bringing through for you as well. Also, if you change jobs, try to make sure it's something better, not necessarily on par. I would try to stretch a little bit and see, like, is there a position above this that I can get to, or like a better paying position? And also, I'm getting this message of like, ask for something lighter. And what do I mean by that? So I'm kind of, when they say that, what does that mean? I mean, obviously, something that's more, bear with me as I describe it, more light, more free, less constrictive. There's not as much heaviness around you, less toxicity. It feels more like where you're supposed to be, where you're supposed to go. Is more like, I'm kind of, there's this modality called access consciousness, and they talk about this thing. It's like light versus heavy. Like there's a couple ways they talk about it. Like what's true for you feels light. What's a lie feels heavy, and that's energetic is what I'm talking about. Like you can feel it in your body, but it's also like an energy of like lightness or like heaviness. But it's also like you can kind of feel into the future and energetically, like when you feel about these different choices, you feel the energy of the choice. Like one might feel lighter and freer, or like more fun and joyful and happy, and one might feel a little like dull and like a little stressful. And that's something they want you to pay attention to or manifest. Is like, if you're not familiar with feeling into things like that, is like ask for something that's lighter and freer and more joyful and brings you more of what you need, and it's not as constrictive. Like things like that is what they're talking about. And there was a side message they said for you while I was in the middle of describing all that, and I can't remember what it was. So can you reiterate it, please? If it comes back to me, I'll say it. I'm so sorry about that. I should probably, if I ever jump around, it's because I'm getting a lot of different messages. Usually I'll remember if they jump a few messages in while I'm talking, but sometimes I'm just going to say maybe it just wasn't supposed to be right now. It wasn't a deal breaker if you don't hear it, so don't worry about that as well. Wants piece 3. I feel MG's energy. Will he reach out to me for love? I heard not for love when I read this question. Will he reach out? Potentially, but what they're recommending is you play it cool. They like play it cool if he reaches out. It's like one thing they're talking about is if he reaches out and like you kind of get that, if it starts to go that way, ask yourself, like, do I really want that? One, based on the past, and two, like, is this really what I want? Like, because it will actually be what you want if he reaches out and you guys get together. I get no. It might not be everything you hoped is what I'm getting, honestly. And there's better for you is what I'm hearing as well, once piece 3. He's around energetically. He might also consider potentially if there's any cord cutting you haven't done or want to do, doing that as well. Also, keep in mind it's Mercury in retrograde, so people from the past and stuff. Sometimes it's a good idea to entertain it. Not always, but you kind of have to take it case by case, honestly. And like they really want to clarify once piece 3. He's not the best one for you, so they really want to clarify that again, just so you know. Water. Thank you. I will drink that in just a second. Biba77X asked, love reading, please. Okay. So, okay. With Spirit Bear of 396 coming out here, 396 hertz. Bear spirit animal it's about divine protection. You're protected from the wrong outcome. So if something like tanks or doesn't work out, it's not a bad thing, even if it hurts emotionally. And like, yes, I can absolutely talk about the times where something didn't work out with someone, and then I'd get the message either through myself or a reading I got where it was like, yeah, if something tanked, it's actually like a blessing in disguise, or you'll see it as a blessing in the future. It just won't always seem like that right away. So anything not working out for you is not supposed to work out. And like they're giving this message like hindsight is always 2020. Where like, oh, thanks for the confetti, crafty teacher. Hindsight is always 2020. Where it's like, I almost get like, oh yeah, dodge that one, or something like that. So I'm gonna get another card here. Okay. Interesting. So 7 blessings of Eve comes in, and like the word I get instantly with this card is like tantra, with just kind of like that. It's almost like Kundalini energy with that the snake on this card, this SNEK. Um, but I kind of got like with the seven blessings of Eve. It's card ease. Maybe there's ease coming. Eve. There's also number 7, card 7. I got like 7 months. I kind of get there's an important time period coming in 7 months, like in love, but also like relationships in general. And there's definitely going to be like a shift. And it's interesting because like the visual they're showing me is a little bit similar to the visual on this card where there's like these conjoining lines in the center. Sorry, it's on, the mirror is off, so I'm not sure how to move my hand. I'll figure it out as I go. But it's like you'll kind of get to this point in 7 months where it's just like everything's just like, it's almost like all these lines like intertwine, and it's just like everything kind of like shifts and unravels, and it's like you become a new you, and like the people around you change. It is kind of what I see coming up. Interesting message. And quick side message as well. There's like on the back of this card in the background, there's like this maze pattern, and what they're saying is like try to stay away from complexity in relationships. Try to simplify a little bit or keep things simple, and you'll have more joy and success that way as well. And love. And also like there's this egg here at the end of this conjoining lines, and it kind of signifies a new birth is something they're talking about. And that's kind of what's happening is like it almost reminds me of, give me the words. It's kind of like everything just shoots off in new directions. So I'd say like around that, what does that have to do with love? New people are coming in that time period, and you're going to be less hung up on, if you are hung up at all, on past people or past situations. There's also more healing coming in the next 6 months or so, where you're able to like let go of past baggage. And that's not just love, that's in all relationships and just in your life in general as well, where you'll be more like prepared for a new love is something I'm getting as well. So what else? And don't discount past partners. There might be someone coming back from the past, but with Owl Spirit Animal here, you're gonna know, is this the wise choice for me? And owl to me signifies knowing, and wisdom, of course, and intuition, claircognizance. So anything else? Because this is a really interesting message. That's not usually what I'll get when I do love light readings, but whatever. What would help wrap up this reading for you? Try to stay away from people who only present a good face and then like 6 months later, I'm not trying to judge anyone. This is the words they're giving me just to get the message across to you. Like, try not to go with anyone who presents a good face and 6 months later they're trash is pretty much what I'm getting. I hate calling people trash. I think it is like just not my thing, but sometimes someone needs to hear things in that way so they get the message. So I'm just gonna say it. So I hope that helps and resonates, Biba. I would focus on new love, honestly, if I'm not lying. And like next year looks very promising, summertime, which would be about 7 months from now. So hope that makes sense and resonates. Legals. Legals? Asked, hi, finance reading, please. Want to start a business. Very cool. One, do it. I get multiple ideas either under the same umbrella or multiple businesses would be a good idea. They're actually recommending more keeping it singular until you have a good idea of what you're doing and then expand into other businesses. I kind of stay away from partners. Legals is another piece of advice I'm getting for you regarding starting a business. You don't need that, and it can get messy. And they're saying something like, I'm not trying to call you out, like you might need to become a better judge of character before you partner with people willy-nilly. But it's more like you don't need that. I'm not trying to say you're bad at judging people. It's just sometimes people surprise you is what I'm getting to say. So like in like a business partnership is almost kind of like a marriage. It can be a pretty big commitment and be a little bit messy. And like a lot of business partnerships I've seen dissolve, even in like rock bands, not just in like business partnerships. Like it's almost like a breakup. But you'll be more successful if you're on your own in that way. I don't know if you were even considering taking on a business partner. As far as finances explicitly, I kind of get the side hustle thing for you as well, where like that's kind of the best way to build is if you have a job and you're doing the side hustle, building your business. I kind of see it taking off, honestly, because you do have the smarts to be like, and have your finger on the pulse of like, what do people need? What would be of service? What are people willing to buy? And then, you're able to work with that to help people through your business, essentially. So anything else about you? They're also giving this advice of like, don't be afraid to take a loss for long-term gain if you can afford it. Sometimes you kind of have to take that risk. I get you can handle it. You're someone with the wherewithal to like navigate those waters. So that's something to keep in mind as well, is like, don't be afraid to take a short-term loss for a long-term gain. I'm going to pull a few cards about finances and stuff. They want me to look at bottom of the deck. So what does this mean? So Queen of Swords coming out first in the top two, Ace of Pentacles, and Five of Swords. Okay. Stay away from people. Oh, Seven of Swords. Excuse me. That's Seven of Swords. So let me see what this is about. One thing they're talking about is like you can't always mitigate all of your pitfalls. The message I get with this card, the Seven of Swords, is just to get started, honestly, is the first thing I'm hearing. It's also like this message of you can't win them all. So financially, you might not feel like you're always winning, but like with fortitude and practice and kind of like navigating these different endeavors, which is what these tents are representing to me right now, these tents in the background, you kind of learn your way and you'll feel a bit less Seven of Swords and more Six of Wands, which is more public victory and winning. This is who you let advise you, Queen of Swords, and your personal life is what I'm getting. Just make sure you can trust the people you're taking advice from. And it's almost like, don't take advice, don't take business advice from like people who will just work a 9-to-5 and haven't done some type of business venture themselves. In your personal life, it's like don't take advice from your mom and dad necessarily. It's more the example. I'm not sure if that's actually the people they're referring to, if they haven't done it and they don't know what they're talking about. I also get this message like you're going to start getting your head above the clouds. Like sometimes we dream big and we're still like in the clouds, but you can kind of, with the Queen of Swords, her head is above the clouds and she's seeing more clearly as well with finances and like the trajectory you're going on. So, and then Ace of Pentacles, of course, new endeavor. So honestly, get started is the message I'm getting. Like I would start that business. It does lead to victory overall. But honestly, finances in general, if you want just finances, it's going to be okay. Honestly, it hasn't been what you wanted, but I do see kind of like with Eight of Wands, quick success and definitely a turnaround. And I get this message of like, stop delaying with the Hanged Man, like, because you are kind of meant for more. And like, just because the first business doesn't succeed, it's kind of that message is if first you don't succeed, try again, or that navigating the tense message. Like, sometimes it takes some trial and error before you're like fully successful. So, as long as you're getting started and then like going down your path and you keep going, whether it's the first business or the one after that, it's going to be successful. I hope that makes any sense. I feel like I went all over the place, but hope that resonated and made sense. And you will be successful, honestly, is what I hear. Hope that helps. What am I looking at? Siren 888880. Should my son change psychiatrists? Maybe not right now, but soon. He does need something a little bit different, but it's got to be the right person who kind of gets him. Right now, it's like, I kind of get, it's like middle of the road. It's okay. It's helping, but you need more is more what I'm getting. So yes, but I would do your due diligence and like, I don't know if there's a way to look at the results psychiatrists have gotten before. I kind of wish there was, if there isn't, but like, make sure you get a good referral is what I'd say about that. Next Next question. Is this reading for everyone? Sometimes I will do general readings for everyone in the middle of the live, but a lot of these right now are just specific questions for people, if anyone's new and joining. Next question. Laura C. Breeze, are P and I meant to be together? Love reading. I'm getting not explicitly. It's like, I get it's a good option, but not the best. Like, are you meant to be together? Not quite, honestly, is the message I get. I get meant for more. Like, and it's almost like right now, if you have something going on, cool, like great, it's an aligned option. But it's like long term, do I get that it would be the best option for you? No. I don't really see it working out long term, honestly, based on what I'm getting, Laura. But it's just not a bad option for right now, is what I'm getting. So anything else as far as love for you? I kind of get this message, like the visual they're showing me is like you're working out things in yourself, and I don't mean kinks in like an in bed kind of way. I mean kinks as in like just working out things within yourself so things flow a bit more smoothly. Like just not as like locked up about certain things. So there, I kind of see people coming in that start to unlock aspects of you where maybe you've closed down in the past. I almost see like a treasure chest with chains as the visual they're showing me. I think like one person comes up and unlocks the set of chains. Another person comes up and puts the key in the chest and opens it. And then like out comes authentic Laura. So it's like, that's kind of what I see with just some of like the people and the trajectory coming in that you're encountering in love, particularly, maybe in other areas too. But it's just like things that kind of unlock you and unlock your full expression. And that's kind of what the universe is growing you into through love, is what they're saying for you regarding this reading. And you will have love. That's not the option. But they're saying not peace. So that's what I get. I hope that helps. Next question. I Manny K4. Hi, will my ex and I get back together? I get like you can, but do you want to, honestly? So let's see. Will they actually get back together? I get short term if you guys get back together, honestly. Those are the words I get, is like they literally say short term. And again, not the best. Sometimes people are exes for a reason. They're okay, whoever your ex is, but I would honestly move along if I were you, is the advice I get for you. I'm Manny K, so I hope that helps. Hope that does resonate for you. Oh, maybe I shouldn't do internet speak. Does a resonate? I'm going to start saying doggo every other reading. Okay. Or maybe I should. Next question. Kristen Soriano, 95. What messages do my angels have for me right now? For you, I definitely see like the first message I heard was like go within, and I'm seeing like internal shift, and it's weird because I see like you and you're kind of working on internal stuff, but it's also like dark and like it's like, you know, those scenes and like not dungeons, but it's like maybe under like in a sewer, and like there's like just a dripping water, and it's just kind of like dark, and it's like it's kind of like dank. Not dank isn't the right word. Damp, I guess. Like it's weird, the visual they're showing me. But you're kind of releasing the parts of you where you feel trapped, is what I get. Which seems a little bit similar to the last reading, but it's very different because it's in different areas and it's more inside of you, and more about your inner experience. I get for you as well, you're learning to unlock your voice and speak authentically. That's not really the main crux of the reading, but that's something they're talking about as well. I get self-expression is kind of a theme, honestly, for you, where it's like the more you're expressing yourself, the better. And it's like that doesn't matter if that's a painting or if that's to your dad or if that's in, however you choose to express yourself. But like, I would exercise your throat chakra, your voice. And what do I mean by that? Like, throat chakra can be, because it's related with expression, it can be something that has to do with creativity. Some people talk about sacral chakra being about creativity. I get both, honestly, but it's different aspects of expression. This might be a little bit higher and more like higher plane, higher dimensional, more like from the soul. This is very feelings oriented and like emotional expressivity, or sensual expressivity. So like, I would be like, so what would be the message for you? Honestly, like, as far as chakras though, heart chakra probably needs the most work. And I would do any visualization where you're kind of breathing light into your heart chakra to kind of heal and shift that and open things up, because that activates your whole system, is something they're showing me. If you were to do some type of energy work for yourself, like working on the heart chakra, that like spreads out to like your entire being. They're saying the word Pleiadians, so let me see what that's about. For you, and this isn't what I get for everyone, but don't be afraid to study like galactic things, or like work with more of the, galactic beings like the Arcturians or the Pleiadians, if that resonates, if that calls to you. I'm not usually big on like talking about the starseed thing. I think I have a bit of a different take on it based on what I get from when I channel about that stuff. But for you, there might be some good things in there, and I feel like there's some good activations for you with that as well. If you were to look into that and be like working with the Pleiadians or something like that, or even just like looking at it and seeing what resonates for you and all of that. I kind of get you are a starseed. That's kind of like what you're here to do. That might be more of your MO, honestly, is like doing light worker starseed things, and like kind of looking into that perspective. If you haven't already, that's something I'm getting for you as well, Kristen Soriano. So what other messages for you? I wanted to pull a dragon card. And like, I do actually get expanding creativity with this card. Earth and Fire Dragon works with you to clear the fifth dimensional elements. It is time for service. When you give, you receive. Not necessarily what this card is about, but it's what I get intuitively and channeled when I... what's going on in the chat? Is something not chill today? Wait, I want to know more about your channel, about Starseeds, and your thoughts on it. Okay, I will get right to that in a second here after this. But the thing they're talking about with this card for you, Kristen Soriano, is like there's lava and there's flow, and like with creativity, it's flow. And it's kind of like keeping things piping hot. And what I get for you regarding that message is like, don't sit on things too long, like ideas or expression or things you want to do, because it's like, what happens to lava when it sits still? It turns into stone. So it's not like you can't reheat those things. It's not like you're stuck if you don't do it, but it's more like this energy of like, take action and like strike while the iron is hot, and like flow while you still have that lava hot and going, is the message I'm getting for you. So don't be afraid to take action on creative endeavors or ideas or anything, honestly. I kind of get you're clearing a lot right now, so I'd also be patient for yourself, because they're almost showing me off-roading, where it's like, sometimes if you're walking a path, it's like smooth, and they're showing me in my mind's eye this mural, and I'll tell the story really quickly. There was this mural, and when I lived in around Asheville, North Carolina, there's this mural, and I think it was on a bike shop, and there was a bike going down the path, and there was one girl on a bike going down the path, and it was smooth. And then there was this other dude on a bike going on the path, but he was off the path a little bit, and he was on this like bumpier road. And at the time, for me, what it represented as a sign was like my girlfriend at the time, now ex, she was the one on the bike and things were going smooth, and then I was on the bike and things were bumpy, or like that's what it was like turning into, the situation where it was like, oh my gosh, like life was not fun for me in a lot of that era. But it's like, that's kind of what they're showing me, is it's like when you're off-roading, and they showed me like an RC car off-roading, which is really random. It's like, it's a little bit bumpier, and sometimes it's like, it's not like you're wrong or in the wrong space. It's just like where you're going, it took a bit of an off-road path, and sometimes that's bumpier and not as smooth and joyful. But you will get to the other side, and it's almost like you're on a higher path and trajectory because of it. So, random message. Hope that resonates and makes sense. They want one more card. Speak Truth. Did we not just talk about self-expression with Speak Truth? This is also about Archangel Michael. I'm getting he's helping you bring clarity and also kind of helping you to decipher some of the messages you're getting around you, whether maybe it's from me, but also from the universe around you. And the card behind it is Connect to Heart, if you can read that. And what do we talk about with like working on your heart and how that activates your whole system? So any other messages? So that's kind of what I'm getting for you. Hope that helps, Kristen Soriano, and brings some of the messages you needed. So hopefully I'm not going to pee anyone off with this. But Destiny was asking about some of what I get about Starseeds. So I'm going to see what they want to say about that really quickly. Malastra, those cards are beautiful. Yeah, Threads of Fate Oracle. Lumen Edition is what these are. They're pretty cool. Oh, why are you popping out again? Okay. So about Starseeds. The first thing I'm hearing about the Starseeds thing is it's a way to perceive or get a framework of the universe that's not always fully accurate. And I do get with what I see, I do sometimes see people go off the rails a little bit with it. Are your souls from somewhere else? Yes. Is everyone here like from Earth, quote unspeak? No. But there's also a lot more that's like from the angelic realm or straight from source. And like, I think, okay, here's where I kind of come from, where it's like source is all of it and everyone's from source. And I think sometimes people sometimes forget that with the starseed thing where they're like, no, I'm from Sirius, but it's like source is all of it. And it's like, you might have certain aspects of what's ascribed to a Syrian starseed incarnation, you could say, based on the framework of the starseed paradigm. Is your soul actually from Sirius? I kind of get like very few souls are actually from other planets, but if you think of it as source is everything, and you have these souls from different areas like coming in from source, like to me that makes a bit more sense, where you kind of have different encodements and like your souls that like you're coming here for a specific purpose. And have I heard some really interesting stories about like people and they see their past lives and like they'll see one that's like an alien or it's like they have a blue face? Like, yes, and I don't doubt those things either. I do get there's something to it. I just like, I think sometimes people take it too far is my honest what I kind of feel about it. And maybe the universe will prove me wrong. I just think there's a bit more nuance to it than the way it's described. And I think sometimes people take it, what do I want to get? I think it's a thing, but people take it the wrong way. Does that make sense, guys? That's kind of more what I get. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just think sometimes people get wrapped up in the identity of being a starseed instead of like, what am I here to do and how am I here to be of service? And I think it's fun, and I think it does give us information about ourselves. And if I got really interesting information about me and my soul, yes. But at the end of the day, what I'm hearing is like it's a way to kind of know thyself, and it's a way to do a reading. It's a way to get more information about that. And then once you're clear on that, you'd be like, okay, but what actually matters here with me being on Earth? So I hope that makes any sense. And I don't feel like I went super deep into it or my take, but that's just some of the things I'm getting to share here as I'm talking about it. It's more like just don't take it too literally and try not to let it bring you into separation from other people on the planets or beings if you can, because it is all one at the end of the day. Whew. Anyways, it's a good thing. Just don't take it too far is what I'm hearing. Weird message. But anyways, next question. Ooh, Amanda Nicole. Key to expanding my crystal business. I get, you might have already started doing this, but creating things with crystals. And I also get the message, the question, like, what can you do to stand out? And this is not a call out to you, and it's not like there isn't something special or cool or awesome about you. But what I'm hearing to help you, to go a little bit deeper into this, it's like, what is the mission behind it? And there's nothing wrong with prosperity as one of your missions, because you're here to thrive just as much as anyone else. But beyond that, like, how are you looking to be of service and help people? And what can you expand into besides just selling crystals that helps it stand out per se? Like, it could be making necklaces or something exclusive to you. It could be like, what kind of education can you bring into your clientele about how to make crystal grids? Can you start to build any type of classes or courses around working with crystals that also expands your business? It's like to give an example, and I'm gonna, these are speaking to like two slightly different levels, so I'm gonna try and bridge the gap a little bit. But I always had this thought when I was looking at businesses, like, think of like Amazon and 7-Eleven. And you're like, what if someone looked at 7-Eleven and, because what I kind of think is people looked at it and they're like, oh, it's a convenience store. But what if someone who was running 7-Eleven looked at 7-Eleven and was like, oh, you know what? It's not just a convenience store. We stand for convenience. That's our theme. That's how we operate. And then they were like, how can we make things more convenient for people? And they're like, oh, well, with the internet, we could start doing delivery. It's like, what's to have stopped 7-Eleven from having become Amazon? Because Amazon kind of banks on, like, of course they do a lot of other stuff that, but like they kind of banked on convenience. They're like, okay, free shipping with Amazon Prime membership. You're like, okay, how can we get things to people as fast as possible so that instead of running to the store, they'll just be like, oh, it'll be here in 2 days anyways, I'll just order it on Amazon. Like, they kind of started to stand for convenience in a way. And so like, what's to have stopped 7-Eleven from having stood for convenience? And so why am I talking about that? If you look at your crystal business, it's like, what do you stand for that if you looked at it from like a different or more intuitive way would give you a different word you stood for, where you could branch out into other different things that really resonate for you as the business you're growing? Like, for instance, do you stand for healing? Okay, how can I bring more healing through what I'm offering people? Like, oh, I could pre-make crystal grids that are for healing and then sell the whole crystal grid. Like, that's an idea I've seen that, like, it's things like that. It's like, oh, you know, I could start selling essential oils and start, I don't know if you want to do that. I think a lot of people who sell crystals venture into essential oils. So that's kind of that might be and it's not a bad idea, but it's like, that's kind of what I'm getting. And it's like, and it's also like, look at yourself as well. And what are you bringing to the business? And I mean that in the best way possible, but it's like, what does Amanda Nicole stand for? And that might be something you sit with intuitively and see what you get. And like, how can you make and bring your authentic energy and like what you bring to the table as a part of the business too, even if it's just injecting your personality into your videos about crystals or like your posts or something like that. It's like, how can you, so anything else on that? And it's like, one message I'm getting for you as well is it's important to try to branch into other things that other crystal businesses don't have. It is something they're talking about as well. Do I get that there's plenty of abundance to go around? Yes, absolutely. But that's just, as far as some of the other things to look into to expanding your crystal business, that's what I get. As far as the exact key for your specific situation, let's see if they give me any more information. And that's honestly what I get, is expansion and building additional tools or ways to heal others through your business. And you can take that and apply it a little bit differently if you feel like you're more here to help people transform their lives. Like, cool, then use that phrasing and look at it that way instead. But I hope that helps at all. That's what I'm getting for you about that situation. Business with Brandon, love it. Oh yeah. Orlando Janut, what are my gifts and how will I utilize them? I'm getting claircognizance first and foremost, which is more of like a knowing. Clairvoyance is something I also see with you as something that can ramp up. You're definitely clairsentient, where you feel energy. I kind of get you have a healing touch with people. So like working with energy or anything like that would be good. I also get your creativity is healing, because they're showing me like painting. Excuse me. I didn't mean to. I did something and the screen happened. So, what are you? How will you utilize them? I do get you'll use them expansively, because usually when you kind of get your gifts honed in, you're probably not going to just be using them in one specific way, because they're kind of tools that you can use in every area of your life is something I want to say as well. You can channel as well. That's a bit of a journey, I'd say, for you. I would focus on like the knowing and the clairvoyance and the clairsentience and energy healing, honestly, because that would be like your jam, I get. And then like maybe look into Akashic Records readings if that's something that resonates for you. That might be a stepping stone into more of, if you want to get into this business of readings. I don't know if I don't think this business is the right thing to call it. Like that doesn't totally feel right to me. It's like, but that's what they said. This area of work. Like the thing about you, Orlando Jeanette, and it's kind of, it's like you have more than one gift, and it's like, it's kind of like a domino effect. Is once you have one online, it can kind of expand and knock over the next domino that activates the next gift, and then you might have three main things that you start to work with. Like maybe you get visuals, maybe you don't just know things, and you'll be able to speak from that place. But I see you doing more energy work is what I get. Hope that helps. You're welcome, Amanda Nicole. I hope that helped at all. And also be fortitude as well is something they're saying. Like keep trying, because you never know like when the sixth thing you try will be like the breakthrough that really gets you the business you deserve, which is good. Little Moon, hi, anything for me today? Thank you. Yeah, let's see what comes through for Little Moon. Okay, Ishtar's Lion Gate, 4/4 with the numbers 888. I get you're going the right direction, you just don't see all the results yet. Little Moon is the first thing I'm hearing. You definitely have a lot of angelic supports. They're also giving this message of speak from the heart. With this lion in the card, there's this little like mandala around this lion's heart, as well as at the lion's, it looks like crown to third eye area. But the message they gave as they pointed my eyes to this was speak from the heart. Because like your wisdom comes from the heart as something they're talking about. And they're also giving this message, like, if you can, like, it's time to get back out there into the public, if you can. Like, I'm not sure what the situation is. You're in Germany, correct? If I remember from last time we talked. I'm not sure what the situation is in Germany as far as COVID. It might still be restrictive, but like, even just like going out for a walk or going into a coffee shop and just kind of getting in not like overwhelmed by the energies of others and not taking on the energies of others, but just kind of getting in the energy of being around others might be something that's a bit healthy and uplifting for you, even if you're not particularly engaged with the people around you. Like if you're just sitting at a cafe, if you don't already do that. I do also get the message heart expansion for you. But it's like, I kind of get this message like you've had enough of like certain things in life. Like you've had enough. And that's going to start to be what starts to facilitate the change for you, because you're demanding it from the universe and you've had enough of the same old, or just like things not working out. And sometimes when you're at your wit's end, that's when things start to shift a little bit, because it's like you've really hit the point of the lesson is something they're talking about. But also with Lionsgate, what's the message with the lion? With lion, typically it's about courage and being brave and bold as well, as a message I'll typically get with the lion card. So I would honestly be brave in putting yourself out there, especially if there's a new endeavor you're looking to do. I would be bold in like trying new things, especially in the months ahead. I know we're in Mercury in retrograde, so maybe you're like, maybe after Mercury in retrograde, but whatever you do, be bold with it. And like things are working out as well, but I almost see like husking an ear of corn is like a weird message where it's like, you have the corn, but you still have to husk the corn to get to the corn. And that's kind of like where I see like where you're headed is like you're going to have like a bunch of ears of corn, metaphorically. And it's like, you still have to like husk. They have corn in Europe, right? Because I know corn is a kind of an American thing, right? But hopefully you know what I'm talking about. But like you're gonna have all these like husks of corn, these ears of corn, excuse me, and you're gonna have to like then do the work to like husk them to like get to it. So it's like you're doing the work to get the abundance, but then you have to do the work to get the fruits of abundance. Weird message. But that's kind of what I see is like coming in. And like also with the 888, that is a sign of abundance and like an abundance upshift. So I'd say that's also a message of prosperity coming for you as well in the long term. And they're saying this message like you haven't chosen wrong. Just like with some of the past choices you made or some of the directions you're going, you haven't messed up, you're just still growing. And it's like, I do see things in a good way to borrow from, like they're saying going parabolic, which is definitely like it's like an investor, it's like a cryptocurrency term for when like cryptocurrency goes parabolic and like hits like this really ridiculous like high new number in a matter of like days. That's how your abundance is going to be. But it's like there's a lot of work, or there could be like work leading up to it going. It's like an exponential curve. Like it's slow, it's slow, it's slow. And then it's like, oh, it goes parabolic. That's kind of more what I see coming in for you. But like it's like patience while you're growing things, and eventually things will like develop where like you know how to expand your abundance multiplicitly as opposed to linearly. Okay, that's what I'm hearing. Anything else for you? I want to pull a dragon card. Do you want to pull a dragon card? Air and Water Dragon helps you to connect to higher frequencies, trust your intuition, develop your psychic abilities, be open to enlightenment, express your inner song. So, what's the message for you regarding this card here as the image? Like, I honestly get the message fly higher for starters. It's like, I think like learning to ground your intuition and work with it in your endeavors is gonna help you, because you'll always be going the right way. And again, you haven't messed up, but that's something they're talking about. Like if you haven't been working towards that, I'd look into how can I, and like, you know, as far as if anyone's listening and wants, and oh, another card of abundance popping out here, and healing. And don't be afraid to go big. Like I would like think of like, how big can this be? Like not just like, how can I get to the next level? It's like, how big can this be? And like, just dream up some of those things as well when you're manifesting. So I hope that helps, Little Moon. Oh boy. I'm gonna drink some water. Okay. Someone gave me a water reminder like an hour ago, and I forgot to drink water. So, okay, they want me to go to the Q&A. Bone Stiletto. May I have clarity on my job and work-life balance? First and foremost, I'm hearing it needs to change. I get a new job would be good if you can get one. I kind of get, you just need something new. I kind of get November. Like maybe start looking, see what's available in November, start seeing what's out there. Like you kind of need something that you don't take with you when you go home is what I'm hearing. And something that doesn't drag you down in like the rest of your waking life, or pull you away from your personal relationships, because those are just as important as work life, honestly, is what I'm getting. I do get a new job would lead to more balance if you can get that. It would be a bit less like what the word sloppy is coming to me. So let's see what else they want to bring through. And like they're saying something like you need something that allows you to be more free as well as something they're talking about. So your job currently, it's okay. Does it serve you totally? No, I get no. It's kind of like time for change, but I know like you might not feel ready for change. So ramp up to it if you don't feel like you can do it right now. So anything else about work-life balance? Like a part of me almost what I want to say is like you probably already know if you're asking. that's the case. So I'm going to pull a quick card for you. Okay, take risk is the card that's coming out, which makes sense. Taking a risk, getting a new job, or even taking time off to recalibrate and trying to get more balance in the meantime. I kind of get you're also recovering from an old phase is something they're talking about for you, Bone Stiletto. Or maybe even something that's been plaguing you is something they're talking about, just like from the past. I kind of get you ready to let that go. I do get that whatever that is, letting go of that will balance things out as well. So what is that about? It potentially old job, honestly. Maybe how you were treated, things like that. You also need people who lift you up, not just maintain the status quo is something they're talking about, or like people who help you grow and expand, not just do the same things every day. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's just what they're saying for you. But it's definitely worth the risk to make a change is what they're saying for you. So anything else for you? So the revolutionary card is kind of on the bottom of the deck after that. And it's I kind of get this message, like, don't be afraid to revolutionize your life and like change everything up. I would do things one at a time with that. I wouldn't necessarily like change everything at once and then freak out because nothing's the same. But it might be like new job, like, okay. And then like you start to meet some new people through that new job. And then you're like, okay, new hobby. Okay, now I do kickball and I'm meeting new people through that. So things like that. But you're kind of coming up on this phase where I almost see you asking yourself like what matters. And that's what's going to start to dictate your life a little bit more instead of like, how can I get this, this, and this? It's like what matters and how do I draw what matters in, as opposed to like, here's this shiny thing and here's that shiny thing. And like you're kind of pulled around by the shiny things. Not that there's anything wrong with that either. That's just kind of what I see coming in for you. But I also get this message like you're going to have the right people around you soon. So if you feel like you haven't, like that's coming up for you. So I hope that helps. Next question. Tennis Moods. What is my true career path? Am I in the right career? The message I get is like you are in the right career for now. So true career path. So I know what you're asking. So I'm gonna ask for a bit more clarification as well, because they're like, well, you are on your true career path because that's what you're doing right now. But as far as like what would be highest and best for you career wise, it's something that you build. Honestly, is what I get. That would be more fulfilling. And the key word I do get for you is fulfillment and like joy. And they're almost showing like, I'm not saying this is what you do, but you know those artists who do like paint splattering? Because they're showing me like a canvas and like splattering paint. It's like things that are a bit more fun. And like, I guess expressive is a key word today, because like that doesn't always come up in my lives, but expressive has come up like 3 times or more for these readings. So that's, I'd say like anywhere where you're building your own path and like more of an entrepreneurial route would be like better for you, but it's something you have to build. It's almost like with your bare hands, probably not literally, but working with your hands might be important as well. So anything else? Like what I'm also getting for you is anything that you're changing people's perspectives is also something that's good for you. Like that, you could be a therapist doing that. You could also, I mean, you could do that in customer service, but I don't think that's what you want to do. But for some reason, that's kind of like your jam a little bit, is like sharing things in a way that helps people kind of shift how they look at the world is like part of what you do, or part of like your essence here, something they're saying. And that's not your sole purpose on earth. It's just something that is a theme that underrides what you do, is what they're saying. So those are the things I'd look for as far as like career path. You're in the right career for you for now. I don't get that it's long-term for you, because I think like you're going to want more. You're going to want more fulfillment. And they're giving me that, you know, that Little Mermaid song with like, where she's singing about her treasures under the sea. And she's like, I want more. It's kind of like what I get. So that's kind of what I'm getting for you, and I hope that helps. But anywhere you're building things, I think would be great. Yeah, guys, do your best not to spam the chat if you can, to the best of your ability. And do your best to use the Q&A because I can go back and find older questions, and I'll kind of bounce back between chat and Q&A based on what I'm guided to do. So bear with me. Canada. My new job is extremely tough. That's on direction. The first thing I heard was quit. Not right away. Don't jump ship tomorrow unless you can afford to be smart about it as well. But it's not the job for you is what I'm getting. But one thing they're saying is like it will work out if you stay. You'll get better at it. You'll learn how to cope. It's just like you're going to want something that's a bit easier on you long term is something they're saying. So keep that in mind regarding that job. But literally the first word I heard was quit. So, but go with your gut and see what feels right to you, and make sure things are safe for you to quit before you just quit, you know. That's pretty much what I'm hearing for you. Back to Q&A. MSA Swan, who are my guides? I hear angels first and foremost. And like the thing is, it can vary person to person. So some of your guides are very particular to you as well. I do see a lot of angelic supports. So who else are your guides? I actually do see Pleiadians for you as well. You might have some Pleiadian guides in there. Any guides in particular that want to step forward for you? One thing I do see is it's this old white-haired dude like on a mountain, and it's more like a monk energy, but kind of like hermit-ish, honestly, where it's very much like long white hair by himself on a mountain. But I feel like all spirit guides do, but they're almost literally showing him with a lantern, like on the Hermit tarot card. And maybe you'll call him Hermie, I don't know. But because the one thing I hear about guides that is like they don't really have names up there, but they'll give names for you to connect with them, honestly. But that's one of the guides that's particular to you, where he kind of gives you higher vantage points and perspectives on your life choices, just so you don't make short-term decisions is one thing that they're talking about. But that's one of many, because people typically have multiple guides, honestly, and that number can fluctuate. And the guides that are there for you can, depending on who you are and where you're at, vary depending on your life circumstances and what you need for each phase of your life. Honestly right now, but they're going back to it's really mostly angelic for you, like guardian angels, Archangel Michael. What archangels do you resonate with? Like Archangel Uriel is coming forward as well. They're kind of the main boss of your spiritual team, you could say. I'd say Source is at all times anyways, because Source is everything, but that's what they're showing me, honestly, for you. Hope that helps. Oh, I see that 15 people did not like that answer. Oh well. That's what I got. Bell's Tales asked, going on my first date in years, is this guy okay? Is he a good guy? He might be under par, honestly, Bell's Tales. It's worth going on the date and experiencing it and seeing for yourself. I kind of get he's not the guy for you, but honestly, congrats and kudos on going out there and doing it, because that's important. And how are you gonna find love if you don't try? So and maybe some people that works, but not most people. You're welcome, Mama Sace. It's not the right guy, but it's a stepping for you. That relationship is a stepping stone to finding some of the right people for you, and it's a learning experience as well. So but he's not gonna kill you or anything. It's it's not that bad. It's just not what you want. Does that make sense? Bell's Tales. But worth going on the date, worth having fun, worth working with that experience and having that momentum going with dates and stuff. So I know that's probably not what you wanted to hear, but that's what I'm getting, and so I hope that helps. Oh yeah, who said that? Yeah, it's more important for Bells to try than the date. There's something to that for sure. I hear that. I like how you summed that up. Oh, thanks for the sunglasses. Yeah. Did I already answer this? Brenda Calvillo, 38. I don't think I did, based on what I'm getting. Do you get anything from me on love? I would wait a little bit on love, honestly. It's kind of like, I kind of get this energy of like letting things play out in like some of your current circumstances is what they're saying. Will you have love? Absolutely. There's no question about it based on what I'm getting. I kind of get next year is very important for love. Like I do get there's a lot of lessons, but I also see like a lot of joy and like fun times as well with love for you next year. So like I get springtime, honestly, where it's like I am also getting multiple options for you. That's something I see coming in. And I'm also getting like always, maybe you don't feel like you always have multiple options, but I feel like that's something that's like, you tend to have options is something they're saying, or you will if you don't feel like you do right now, based on what I'm getting. And like, again, like love is coming, but it's like patience, make sure it's the right person. Don't rush into things, especially if you're hesitant. Sometimes there's a reason, sometimes not. Sometimes you're hesitant and it turns out to be great. But pay attention to your body and the signals your body is sending you around people. Because I kind of get you're becoming intuitive, and it's like your body can be a very accurate barometer about how you feel about people. Like, what's the best way to describe this? It's kind of like feeling things intuitively, but with your body, because it's like, the best way I can describe it is like you can feel into the things energetically if you're familiar with energies, and you can read it that way, where you know what you're feeling, and you're like, okay, I know what that experience is. For me, I'll typically feel into an energy and get the words, like, and then I'll get the visuals I need to get the further messages across, or the knowing just hits me what it means. But sometimes you can just be like, when you're with someone and like your stomach feels weird and you're just like, I don't, there's no like bad red flags, but it feels wrong. Something does not feel right and I can't put my finger on it. Like that's a sign to run, honestly, Brenda. So that's something they want to bring through as well. Cause it's like, you're going to start picking up on those things faster just based on how you're feeling, almost like the second you see someone. And if that's not now, that's down the road, but that's something they want to say for you. When will you next be with like a significant romantic partner? I kind of get sooner rather than later, honestly. So what is sooner rather than later? Like you might even be meeting someone before the year's out, honestly. But spring I saw was important for you next year. So next question. Oh dear. Jenny Hutchins 07. Did I make the right decision for Dad at the end? Yes. They're giving them the word mostly. But honestly, you didn't mess up, is what I'm getting. You didn't mess any of it up. Overall, it was the right choice, is what I'm getting. I don't think you made the wrong choice with that, Jenny. And honestly, what they're saying is you did the best you could with what you had at the time. So it's like, don't beat yourself up if you ever feel like you didn't make the right choice. It's like you did, but don't beat yourself up if like for some reason you start thinking or feeling the opposite, is what they're saying as well. So I hope that helps. Brandy, I would keep trying is what I get. Interesting question. Andres Dorina, is Alex my soulmate or a karmic? I get the word both. I would say more karmic than soulmate. And sometimes you have soulmates that are what other readers would say is more of a karmic energy, honestly, where you're working through things, or like you're getting lessons and preparing each other for like the right person in the future. But I would say for Alex, not someone you're supposed to be with forever is what I get. If you're already in that relationship, don't worry about that. Just let it play out. But that is what I get, honestly. I kind of get it might not be like super long term. So any other information on that? I think that answers it. So I hope that helps. Money Rose has been my soulmate. I get one of many, honestly. Thanks for the confetti, Little Moon. For me, soulmate is you incarnate, and there's multiple soulmates. For me, soulmate is like someone you incarnated with in past lives, like potentially multiple times. Someone you had a connection with like that. So I do get, yes, Ben is a soulmate for you, but I also get like there's one of many. So that's what I get. And no, not everyone's a soulmate is something I'm getting to say in case someone was asking that question. That's just... Barbara, will I get the job in the hospital? I get high probability. It's definitely a good option for you as well. I kind of get you'll probably get a hospital job if you don't get that one. So hope that helps. Lynn's Maryland, should I apply for a new position next school year? I get yes. Yes and no buts is what they said. I don't know if you had any buts to it, but you want to go back to the Q&A here. And then I'll jump right back to chat. Lady Bats, can you pull a card for me, please? Yes. They want the White Light Oracle. Okay. So, Deer of... this one. Deer of Delta is popping out. Maybe the number 26 has significance to you. Typically, 2s and 6s have shown up for me in importance, like you're on the right path kind of messages, which maybe that's not everyone's norm. I get this message of, with this card, the Deer of Delta, pay attention to people who are gentle, and show them kindness and gentleness in return is one thing they're talking about. They kind of say like you need gentle, like in the people around you. And I kind of get that's an energy that might help balance things out for you, just in your physical waking life is something they're talking about. I also get the message of rest, like with this card. They're giving me the word rest, which makes sense because this little deer is all snuggly and resting with his mama, it looks like. But I kind of get you need rest and like taking a step back from certain things that have been frantic, if you can and where you can. That might just give you a bit more clarity as well. They're giving a strange message as well, like draw strength from nature, and they kind of show you seated in nature, and like it's like roots coming. You're seated and like roots coming, kind of going out from underneath you into the ground, and you're kind of drawing in energy and strength from nature. Because that can rebalance you and refuel you and recharge you. So I would honestly get out in nature and it's like go for walks and stuff. And they're giving me this visual, and it's a story that another practitioner I've talked to before talks about, where she was talking about how, like, because she's very much about working with tools and like the consciousness of the tools. I guess you could say that's not her wording, that's mine. But for instance, she had a pendulum at one point, and this pendulum that she picked it up. She's like, oh, this pendulum's angry with me. I haven't been working with it or paying attention to it. So she took it on a walk, is what she got to do. And then it was happy because she just took this pendulum on a walk with her through nature. And then it was happy again. And they gave me that visual of her taking that walk through nature with that pendulum. So how does that apply to you? It's honestly what I get. Sometimes you just need to get away from things and recharge. So, and maybe there's something in that story I just told for someone out there that's listening, but that's the message I get for you regarding that story as far as why they showed me that visual. Also with Sovereign Queen Maeve, they are pointing at the word sovereign. They're really highlighting the word sovereign for you. Lady Bets, is about like owning your sovereignty. And like that's I get this message a lot, but not getting pulled around by other people's truths or opinions. And it's weird because like as I look at this card, it's like I feel like I'm seeing the energy of the card more than I'm seeing the actual like visual. I don't know how to describe it. And I do feel like you're going to start seeing things energetically as well. But as far as owning your sovereignty, is there a bit more on that message for you? But it's kind of like, as a queen, would you take orders from a friend is kind of just what they're asking you to ask yourself. And it's like, the answer is no. It's like, okay, maybe it would be good to reclaim your sovereignty. And there's a couple examples. Like one, you could just set the intention like, okay, I reclaim my sovereignty now. Whatever shifts need to happen for that to happen, I ask that they do. Thanks so much, universe. And that's one way. But one of the examples, oh, they don't want me to go there. Okay, anything else for you? Okay, I'll give the example anyways. But for instance, there's one guided meditation I'll do, and like one of the phrases that is a part of this guided meditation is like, it's like, okay, because it's an end of the day meditation. It's like, okay, I release any energies and emotions that, and I'll add in like that don't belong with me and that aren't for my highest good, that aren't my own. Thanks so much. And in this meditation, the way it's described is when you allow yourself to let go of other people's energies you're carrying or issues or anything else you picked up, you're kind of reclaiming your sovereignty and not having other people's stuff that you're carrying around. It's more like you're more sovereign in your energy fields. You're not feeling like you need to hold people's stuff for them to heal or have a better time, if that makes sense. So it's more about your individuality, your choice, your freedom. So that's kind of like some of the key themes you could think about when thinking about sovereignty. Okay, hope that makes sense. Lady Bets. Oh, thanks, Gravy Jones Stuck. Tony Powell 46. Please, can I have a reading? I'm lost at the moment. You won't be lost forever, is the first thing they're saying. And like part of the reason you feel lost is you don't have what's for you in your life, totally. And like you might have some things that you think are for you that aren't for you. And I'm not saying you need to go on and like purge your whole life right now. It's more like really take a step back and be like, what's for me? Or even ask the universe, like, universe, show me what's for me. And like when you ask that, you're gonna start to see I mean, sometimes things that aren't for you just start to fall away and they get replaced with things that are for you. Sometimes you get shown with things that are for you and you're more willing to let go of what's not for you because you're like, this feels a bit better for me. They're kind of giving this message of like, if you feel like you do this, stop self-sabotage. Especially if you're trying to build anything in your life or your relationships. Because you're meant for more than just like what they're saying is like regular crap are the words they're giving me, or just like just mundane. And for some people that's their jam and they like that and there's nothing wrong with that and it doesn't mean they're lesser. But for you it's like it's not just normal that you're here on earth for, and that goes for more than just you, of course, but for you that's the message that's coming through right now. So what else would help you regarding feeling lost? So like one of the visuals I'm getting is like, and I feel like this is more analogous, I don't think it's literal, but it's like I almost see you like on your knees and like begging for people, like either to like stay or just like not to leave. I'm not saying you've done that, but it's like it's more about the energy is what I'd say. What's that message about? Like don't feel like you can't be on your own for a time if you feel like that's been a struggle, or if you feel like you're afraid to be alone, if that resonates. And if you don't have people that in your life that care about and support you, you will. But it's like sometimes you need to be in your power to be enough to be willing to walk away for things to work out, if that makes sense. Because then you're able to set boundaries. And I honestly, I'm sorry, this is for someone else who needs to hear this. I don't think this is for you, but it wants to come through really quickly. And there's a channel I listened to recently, and like one of the things in this, it wasn't me who channeled this. that they said in this channel was like, you can't have connection without boundaries. And it makes sense, because like if you're constantly like not having boundaries, it's like, one, like the connection's not good, or you get to a point where it just like can't continue and like it just ends. And two, it's like then you kind of start to have resentment if you don't have boundaries, because the people are constantly walking over you and you're not really standing in your power. Like, are you really fully being you if you don't have boundaries in place, to the point where it's two people with a relationship and a connection, and not just like one person being dragged around or like diminishing themselves for another. Weird message. Whoever I was reading for that felt lost, I also get that this intuition, your intuition is going to ramp up with the A so far. Like there's this beam of light coming out of her third eye. And what's for you is coming in, honestly, is what they're saying as well. It's just like you're also in an in-between phase and a shedding phase, and that's part of why you feel a little bit lost right now, is it's like the new hasn't grounded in yet, so you're kind of in between worlds, you could say. So that's kind of all of what I get for starters around that situation. Like they do want to give this message of like, make sure you're building what you want to see in the world, even if it's just like, I'm making this space in my home what I want to see in the world right now. So I hope that helps. Next question. Heather, am I reading the signs from my guides correctly? I get mostly, please and thank you. That's something you get more adept with practice. Like I wouldn't freak out if you're not sure if you're reading a sign correctly right away. I would keep going and let the universe show you, because like, especially if you're asking for it, usually those things are brought into clarity anyways. And there's plenty of signs I've seen. Like a lot of the times if I see a sign, my guides will tell me what it means. But if I see something and it's very pointed, like they point my eyes at it, they have me look at it, and there's always a particular energy with synchronicity and with a sign that's there for me when I'm experiencing it. And if they don't explain it to me, usually it's just a few days later where something happens where I'm like, oh, I get it now. And sometimes it's just a synchronicity to get me to pay attention to a future message in a reading. Not always, but for instance, at one point I kept getting my eyes drawn to firewood, and like firewood, wood. I'm like, why do I keep getting drawn to firewood? And like, they didn't really explain it. But then there was a reading I'd booked that was like a couple days later. And when I got this reading, there was this whole visual this reader got about like, just like, it's hard to describe the whole thing without going into the whole story. But essentially like the message like she saw was like, there was this bridge of this place I was looking to visit, and then there was like all this wood and like stuff underneath, and it was a bad sign where it was like, yeah, maybe you want to go to this place, or maybe you like there's a lot that's really presented to you as like having it all together, but like if you look at the river, like there's a lot of that's like just, you know, like destroyed, and just like there's this driftwood in the river. I'm like, oh, wood, I should pay attention to that. So that's something that if anyone needs to hear that I wanted to say as well. Okay. Am I doing the right thing by having my surgery? I get yes. My guides are like to like say yes. So yes. I kind of get it's better than not having it is what I get. I also get it won't be a bust surgery, so I hope that helps. I've seen a bunch of eagles lately. Nice, good sign, very good sign for you. Martina the Martian, how does R feel about me? We haven't talked since December. I honestly get to move on is the first thing they're talking about. Because he's kind of like half, I don't know if R is a man or a woman, but they're kind of half and half, honestly. It's like they miss you, and then they're like, is kind of like what I get. If that's romantic, I would move along. I don't want to assume that's romantic, but let's see. I kind of get not to reach out, honestly, is what I'm getting. Make sure they reach out to you first for whatever reason, unless you really, really feel strong urge to send that message. But honestly, I'm hearing not to. They're like, don't. So I hope that helps. It makes sense. Like, like I kind of get they kind of feel the same, but the way you feel, but not to the same degree, is what I get, Martina. Like potentially not as strong, and I'm sorry if that's not what you want to hear. It's just that's what I'm hearing. It's a man, yeah, cool. We had an emotional relationship, yeah. Yeah, I would move along. Like the feelings, are they there? Yeah, but not strong enough on his end, is what I'd say. And he's kind of busy with other stuff. But it's like, that shouldn't, if he's really going to make the effort, that shouldn't stop him, you know, from reaching out. But I kind of get it's not the right match, honestly. They want me to go to the Q&A. Okay. I don't think... I keep seeing hawks. What is the message? There's two things. I get the message fly high, which is more like... I get the message upshift as well. But they're also singing that song Amazing Grace, which I would typically associate with eagles, but they're singing it for hawk. So it's like, and it's like a multifaceted message. There's not a one meaning. I also get that's a power animal for you as well. Is hawk. So you might want to look up the meaning of hawk. It's kind of like something that swoops in and helps you through certain life circumstances, particularly when you need to act fast and with precision. Hawk's power animal. I'm not... Interestingly enough, like I know the distinction between totem and spirit animal. Power animal is something I haven't like looked into. I haven't like sat with that as much or like looked it up, but they said power animal, so maybe you want to look that up and see what that means for you. But don't be afraid to fly is pretty much what I get with hawk as well. Don't stay cooped up. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Starling. Water for sure. Oh, right, Abai. Thank you so much. Where can I donate to you? In the link tree in my TikTok bio, the bottommost link is there's a donate tab. I should probably put something on my website. I just haven't. One thing to keep in mind is if it doesn't look like it went through, it probably did. Because I had someone one time try to tip me and they tried like 4 different times and it didn't go through. It looked like it didn't go through, but it actually did. So I had to refund like 4 different tips. So just keep that in mind. But that would be a place you can tip me. Crows are following me everywhere. Is this bad? No, not at all. It depends on the person. What's the meaning for you with crow? I get magic, honestly, for you, because crows can definitely be a symbol of magic, and it's more like, I almost get like you're becoming magical is the message I get for you. Thank you for shining your light bright. Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Will I get a job I really like in the near future? I get you're going to make progress towards it, but you're going to have stepping stones towards it, honestly. Next year is very promising for a job you really like in the future. I get to take opportunities that come your way as they come, because it's like maybe the next job you get isn't the one, but the one after that is, if that makes sense. But you're going to get there. I get you're going to get there. LA Truth. I want to start a business, but I have so many ideas. What should I focus on? First thing I get is like pick one and go for it. One that you're most excited about, like 1 or 2, try it. And if it crashes, try the next thing, honestly, is what I'm getting. So let's see. And try not to combine too many things into one right off the bat. That might be something like you start with something and then you can start to incorporate this thing and then you can start to incorporate this thing. That might be the way to go. But I would sit with your body and be like, okay, which one of these feels the lightest and most exciting to me when I think about putting this into a business? Because if any of them feel dull and you're like, yeah, I don't know about that one, maybe just like set that aside as a secondary option. But if any of them feel more like a big yes, and like your body feels like it's on board, then I would definitely start putting your chips in that one. Your poker analogy, I guess. So anything else that would help you decide? Like I would really try to narrow it down to 2 or 3 and then pick the one that feels most resonant to you. And there's also this message of like, go with what works. Like, keep a gauge on like if you do try or taste test a few things, like what works and has the best response, and then go that direction. For instance, are there things I want to build that aren't what I'm doing now? Yes. But this is currently what's working, is like the readings and stuff, and I'll keep doing that. And I love doing that. But there's also other things I'm going to be adding onto that, you know, in the future, or things that I would also like to venture into the future as well. So, not that we have to talk about my stuff, but there is more than one thing for you. And I know that makes it challenging, but like choosing one and like honing in on like, what am I excited about and what works, and like finding that meeting points and then like go is probably going to be, I know that sounds very logical, but that's probably going to be your best bet. What would be fulfilling? What excites you? What works when you give it a shot? There's your trinity, I suppose. And also like what's of service to other people, but it's probably not going to go anywhere if it's not of service to other people, right? So, I used to see a spirit, but she left when I became scared. Did I lose my gift? No, you did not. You're going to uncover it again. So that's what I get about that. Manny Diva, will I become a successful realtor? At least moderately successful, and that's also one of many things you'll do, is something they're saying. Definitely worth investing your time and research into as far as building that, for sure. Little Moon, what do you think about past life regression? Is that advisable? For some people, yes. For you, I don't get that you need that, honestly. It would be fun and like helpful in some ways, but you don't need it. Does that make sense? Like, it wouldn't be like end all be all. And like, it would tell you some useful information, but not a lot, is something I'm getting as well. But that's what I hear. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the Q&A here. Keelike asked, will T and I ever be more than friends? My body pendulum's going no. Is there a possibility for it? I get not the best chance. Like it could, like there's a slim chance it could happen, but let's see. It would be okay if it happened, honestly, if you guys were more than friends. But there's better for you both, is also what I hear. So that's what I get, and I promise that's not always the answer I get when I do love readings. There have been readings I do where it's like, yeah, that's a good option. Do it. Deb Deliriously Happy 714 asked, Brandon, what do you see for me? I actually see an upshift, but it's very internal, and it's like I see intuition coming online. I also see your chakras shifting, which is a very interesting message. What does that mean? Like I kind of get you're like shifting the balance of your chakras. It's like maybe you were really strong in one area, and then like one was a weak area. So I do see that balancing out, but it's like other areas are going to be stronger and you're not used to that. I see that happening for you, just like in your life in general and how that plays out. What's this card? So this card, there's Aurora of Gamma is popping out here for you. So what they wanted me to pull the bottom of this deck here. What is this for you? I kind of get this message like you're going to be expanding the beauty in your life, like which that's the first thing I'm hearing with this card. I also get you're going to be shining, which is cool. Like kind of like potentially more in the spotlight, more in the public eye, more recognized is also what I'm getting. You're also going to be getting more downloads. Like there's definitely like a download happening here into her crown chakra. I also get for you, like you're going to be starting to feel more you. If you've been in any type of a funk, you're going to start kicking that is what I get. So that's a good thing as well. Anything else for you? I get this weird message of don't be afraid of people, like new people, new relationships, relationships changing. It's like, I get this message for you, like people mean well. Like you might feel like they don't, but they do. And of course, not every single person on earth always means well towards you. But for you, that's the message I'm getting, where it's like, don't discount that people might mean well. And people aren't out to get you is something they want to say as well. So I hope that helps. That's what I'm hearing for you, first and foremost. So what is, does anyone know what the weekly ranking with fire on TikTok is? Oh, this is like, okay, never mind. I get it. I counted on it and they told me things. It showed me things. Okay. I have to go, Sally. Thank you for a beautiful life as always. Oh, well, have a beautiful day, Texas Jess. Thank you so much for being here. I also want to say a quick, huge thank you and so much gratitude to the moderators who are here, and they help keep chat clean and bring a good energy to the chat here as well. So I'm grateful for all of you guys. And so be sure to show the moderators some love if you can, guys. And so they really, they make my life a lot easier, and they just make things so much smoother. And I really feel like they bring an element to the chat and the experience that wouldn't be there otherwise. That is really, honestly, it makes a difference, and I feel the difference energetically. I don't feel like I'm putting my finger on it right now, but that's what I'm trying to say. So thank you guys. Oh, thanks, Shasta Helen. Oh, yeah, like the moderators definitely bring like a sense of stability, and just like it's more like a good type of like, I guess I want to say sureness to things. It's just a bit more like not just me reading off questions. It's like then you have someone else that's in the chat, and you have more. I also feel like I also want to thank all of you guys who show up. It's such a joy to see you guys regularly, because it forms a community, and it becomes a joy for me to watch you guys interact with each other. And it's also just always good vibes here. Yeah, and the moderators are a part of like facilitating that for sure. Thanks, Katerina. I would actually pursue M. World is my oyster. I would actually pursue M. And someone gave me the this quote that really just kind of struck me a certain way last night. I was hanging out with some friends, and there's a mutual friend they were talking to, and so excuse me, I need to stretch. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I forget I'm like sitting here hunched over, like channeling for people for everyone. Everyone here makes the vibe. Good point. You are so right, Texas Jess. But this quote, for who was this for? Who was asking about world is my oyster. The point that they said was this might be for more than just world is my oyster, because I just thought this advice was really good for some reason. It just simplified things for me. But they were talking about how their friend said this thing to them, our friend, and she was like, this lady's name is Donna. She's like 80, she's super wise and cool. She's into this stuff too. But what she said, what she told my friends, who told me, if I can get this out of my mouth, was it was like, sometimes like you're presented with an opportunity in love, like someone shows up, and it's like, I mean, yes, trust your intuition, and like, is this right? Is this not right for me? That's important. But sometimes it's not good or bad. It's an opportunity, and you can like take it, and you have this window of opportunity to take this opportunity. It's like you can take it and see where it goes, or you can hold off and say no. And then, like maybe it'll be a little bit of a time before the next opportunity presents itself. And And sometimes people show up in our lives to prepare us for the next person. It's like maybe you go on a few dates and you're like, well, it was good, but it's like it's more of like a preparation for like the person you can really connect with, if that makes sense. I've heard that's another piece of advice I've heard out there that I liked too, because I've seen that can happen as well as a pattern. So I hope that makes sense as a message. Next question. Ooh, what a good question. Right about. Do you believe in miracles? What does miracles mean? Short answer, yes. So let's see. Gosh, bear with me while I say this, because I'm gonna need to explain it a bit more. It's like sometimes there are things that are inexplicable, but they are explainable, perhaps in the higher realms, but they're very difficult to explain. So it's like to me, you can look at it in a number of different ways. So for instance, like when you learn energy work or different modalities, you can definitely have miraculous results where, for instance, like in access consciousness, the example they'll talk about would be like they'll run some of their access processing is what they call it, and they help shift people's perspectives, and then all of a sudden it's like not only did their perspective change, but their whole reality changed, and like where they were sick before, it's just gone. And so there's miraculous occurrences that you can actually explain based on like energy, or based on like, setting intentions, or based on choosing your reality differently. So it's like in some ways you could say like things that are miraculous do have a certain way of being explained once you kind of look at the higher possibilities beyond what people typically think is possible. But once you start working with energy work and intuition and channeling, it's like miracles become the everyday. And so it's like, is it really a miracle anymore? It's still miraculous. It's still amazing. But I also have heard and even seen things that are just like, it's almost like so miraculous you can't explain it, like just certain miracle healings or certain things. And it can be difficult to force those things, So in some ways, a miracle is whatever you define it as. In others, I think the miraculous can become the everyday when you get into this sort of work. And on another level, I honestly think miracles they can just happen. And it's like, I've seen so many things turn on a dime in my life just by like asking for the angels for intervention, or asking for the universe to intervene. And it's like, that's kind of miraculous when it's like things are going this way, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, it's fine, whether you can explain it or not. So do I believe in miracles? Yes. Do I get that miracles are a thing when I tune in intuitively? Yes, but when you get to a higher plane of existence, you can explain it, is more what I get. So I hope that makes sense. So I would also not limit miracles or what miraculous things can show up for you. Because it's like, even if something that was miraculous to you before becomes your everyday, what more miraculous can show up for you that's beyond even that's more miraculous than ever before? And how high and above and beyond can you go with these miracles? Like, what are the possibilities beyond everything anyone's ever known that's possible regarding miracles? So yeah, you're welcome. Oh, thanks, Lacey. Bree, my B-Day was yesterday. Any insight for my 24th year? Happy birthday. I get it's going to be a good one. I do get you're going to be learning more about who you are, but that's more energetic. Like, you're going to be a bit more solid in who you are and becoming more yourself. I do also see this like learning what's for you kind of thing. And like, and maybe in some ways we're always learning what's for us, but it's going to be more pronounced as a theme for your 24th year. And I do get abundance. For abundance, it's not necessarily money. That could be part of it, but it's like abundance in relationships, abundance in things you want to see in your life, abundance in, it could be an abundance in miracles. But I see like abundance as an overarching theme that's like not just monetary. It's like what makes you feel alive and what brings you to life. It could be like connection and a relationship are part of your abundance. Is more what I'm saying when I say abundance in that sense. So any insight for you in your 24th year? I don't think it's ever the time to play small, but they want to give the reminder. It's like, it's not the time to play small. It's actually a time to like move towards big success if you want that, like in any area, whatever that looks like for you. That could be like, no, I really want this amazing relationship. That could be like, no, I really want to start making, maybe you do want to make more money. I want to start going for my dream job. I would start making strides towards those things because I kind of see the pathways opening up. Like before, maybe you felt a little blocked. There's going to be a bit less resistance from the universe around you regarding you going towards what you want, is what I'm seeing. That's the next few years, where things just kind of open up a bit more because you're kind of ready to take off. It's like the rocket fuel has been added. You kind of just need to light the match and set it aflame in the best ways, of course. So anything else for you? They're giving the reminder, pay attention. Because I do see synchronicity ramping up for you more, but it's also like in your relationships and in your day-to-day, because what I get is you're going to start seeing more like underneath the patterns of people, and you're going to start seeing more of like what's driving people and like where are people coming from. You're going to be able to make more accurate choices with that instead of getting caught up in the romance of a relationship is something they're saying. Not that the romance of a relationship is a bad thing, but you kind of want both. You want the romance of the relationship with what's under the surface to be good, So anything else for you? You're going to have love too, Bree. I think I remember doing readings for you, but that's something that's coming in. 2022, I see for you, love. I get springtime for you too. Like spring, summer would be a good time for that. So I'd let that be flexible, of course, in the timing, and keep putting yourself out there now if that's something you've been wanting to do and finds. But that's going to be more on a rise for you. So I hope that helps. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely I think I hit my wall a little bit ago. Definitely hitting my wall with some of this. It's Momo. Will I ever have abundance in anything besides weight? Yeah. I mean, the first thing they're talking about is, and this isn't necessarily about your weight, but they're like, work on yourself. It's like, what are the patterns or beliefs that keep you from abundance? Do I, like, things you might ask yourself are like, do I keep myself from abundance because I think someone else will get upset if I have this and they don't? Or do I feel like I'm taking away from others when I have abundance, when actually there's plenty to go around? Like, that's something to kind of dig deep into. And if you ever want to create more abundance, there was a course that I like, and it was Lee Harris, and it was Abundance Upshift. It's not necessarily like cheap, but I thought there were a lot of really good things in that course for creating abundance, and I definitely noticed a change in my life after going through that and like incorporating like what he was talking about in it. But like there's things you can do, like, gratitude, giving, not overly giving, but giving more, allowing the flow of money to work a little bit more. So maybe like one of the sentences he said I liked was like, I trust that the money will come. Like if you're going to spend like $10 and like, you can swing $10, but you're just weird about it for some reason, like you could be like, okay, I'd really enjoy this. I'd love this experience. It's $10. I can do this one time. I trust the money will come. Here we go. And that kind of activates the flow of money a little bit. But for you, I was really hearing more like digging into the patterns of like, is there anything keeping me from abundance? That if I worked through, like abundance would start to flow my way with a bit more ease, whether that's self-belief, like worthiness stuff or anything else. So that's something I'd look into as well. It's Momo. Guys, I really self-care, Brandon. Take a minute or two. Thanks, Crystal. Yeah, I'm sure you can tell I'm just like hitting my Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, you're welcome, Miss Momo. You'll get there. I'm getting you'll get there. It's just like, what's the inner work that has to be had for the abundance to come in is the question I get. Yeah, you need a break, please. Thanks. I probably, they keep telling me to end the live. So I don't even know what time it is. I don't know how long I've been going for. Probably, it kind of starts to get timeless a bit when I do this. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome, Punky Indy. Victoria, will Shannon and I become close friends again? Eventually, but let it evolve and don't try to force that. Because they're kind of showing me like a snake with that, and it's like you both kind of need to grow a little bit before that comes back together. Not that you guys are snakes, but that's just a heads up. You guys have a great day too. Yeah, it was great doing this. You're welcome, Right Bye. Absolutely. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. What they want, they're saying one more. So what's the one more? Julie, are things going to get better for my family? I get yes, but you have to be patient with that. There's a lot shifting around with that, and there's a lot shifting in both like I do see turmoil, but like the outer and inner circumstances of the family. And like things haven't landed yet. So I do see like certain things are up in the air, but eventually like people are going to kind of reharmonize and regroup, and it will be a bit stronger and better and not so chaotic if things have been chaotic. So I hope that helps. Thank you. So much resonates even without a reason. Perfect. And that's part of what I hope people get from this, even if they don't get a reading, because I know sometimes if you look at how many questions I get based on how long it takes to do, one question, whether it's a short answer or a long answer, it's just like there's no way I can get to them all. Collective message. Yeah, we can do a quick collective message for everyone. See what they want to bring through. The first thing I hear as a theme is headed to better. And maybe perhaps that's not the next step. Maybe there's a bit of a jungle you have to traverse through, or a rocky road. And for some of you, it will be smooth and it will be the next step. But overall, the theme I'm hearing for everyone is headed to better. We are coming out of Mercury in retrograde. So right now it's like, things might have seemed a little bit stagnant or still, but you're going to be coming out of that period of stillness to a bit more of an excitement, and I'm also getting the word longevity. Things are coming in for you guys' lives, especially if you haven't had longevity and like relationships or certain things where it's like they'll have a bit more staying power, where it's like, oh, this is meant for me. Oh, thank goodness. Because a lot of you have shed the things that have been holding you back. What's for you? Some of you are still in that process, but I just see more forward movement and forward momentum towards like the better. And like even some of the, like they're almost showing me like they are showing me like wine glasses clinking, like the better things in life, the finer things in life. It's like there's a bit more of like an allowance of you guys having those things for yourselves. It's like you're allowing yourself to have that thing. And there's nothing wrong with it as well. So I'm also seeing that for at least some of you, where it's like you kind of have more of the finer things in life, in addition to like what you're already headed towards. That's better. Anything else for you guys coming in right now as a collective message? They are just giving you a quick reminder, like do your best not to get hung up on the past. Like it's because the past is clearing. Will there be some of you where like, sure, an ex comes back or something and like the past is like, it's totally redefined and they've changed? Yes. But in a sense at that point, it's no longer the past, because I think I said this earlier. It's like you both have changed to the point that it's an all new relationship and dynamic. It's no longer the past. So keep that in mind as well. But I would let go of like this is also a good phase. Like I don't ever recommend clinging to things, but it's coming through as a particular message. Like don't cling to anything, because like letting go is what allows abundance to come in for most of you right now, is letting go of like that one thing that you've been really banking on, or letting go of that one person, or even just loosening your grip and letting things play out in a more divinely orchestrated way where you're not trying to control the outcome. That can lead to a lot more of the abundance you guys are seeking as well. And that's the message they want to bring through regarding abundance for everyone here today. They also want to give a message like, don't worry about small things that leave. Sometimes when a lot of little small things leave your life, you can get worried about like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? But it's more just like small things that didn't serve you, or it's a little stuff that doesn't matter, that will easily be replaced by something better, is something they're talking about as well. So like little losses, like sometimes you might feel like they do add up, but they won't, is something I'm hearing for you guys. And it's really like, for some of you, like little losses are spurring you to take action and like get to work on things. And for some of you, it's just like making space for the new to come in. But all in all, little losses are urging you forward to victory, essentially. They're showing me the Chariot tarot card as well for everyone here. That can be a card of victory, but there's also, I'm getting the word steadfastness with that card and with that message. Like they're giving this message like steadfastness and patience will always win in the end. It's just like, it's not a good time to rush things. When the flow of life brings you to rushing things, where it's crunch time and you have to get a project done for your business or work, or you're like, oh, I need to clean this house for this date that's coming over in an hour, like sure, rush. But that's more when the flow dictates it. Don't rush unnecessarily, because like, in some ways, they're giving this analogy of like, you're in, and it's a story I heard from a friend and he heard it from a billionaire, which doesn't matter. That doesn't make the story any better or worse. But the way this guy described life was like, you're in the river of life. And I think I've said this in a past life. You're in the river of life and like, you're just experiencing life. And think about it. You're experiencing the now, and life is evolving and you're creating the future. It's like, you might see something really amazing right now. Like you're in this river and you pass by this amazing city. You're like, oh my gosh, I just want to stay with this city forever. But the river of life and the flow of life is trying to take you somewhere better, somewhere down the road, somewhere down the stream, somewhere down the current. And like it kind of sucks when you start to fight that current, because you're like, no, I want to stay in this city. I want to stay with this thing, that's this person, this thing. And like, you're swimming upstream, you're swimming against the current, and you're like swallowing water, and it's really a struggle, and it sucks. And like, it's not even effective. You're just like swimming in place. But if you let the flow take you forward, and like you might just find a city that's bigger and better, or you might see this really cool statue or this oasis haven you might get to that you really, really love even more. But the reason that applies to the steadfastness and the card I was talking about is you likely don't always want to like just sprint an Olympic swim your way down the stream of life and just speed run your life, instead of enjoying some of the abundance of what the now moment and smelling the roses, as you might say, has to offer. Because then, like, what's the point of experiencing your life if you're just speed running to the end? Like, you're just gonna die. So like it's a tandem message of like, don't fight the flow, but don't rush yourself through things when there's a moment right now or in the future that could be really big and abundant to you that you're missing because you're caught up thinking about how you want to be XYZ or back in the past or in the future. And I do get, like, sometimes your dreams and the things in the future are meant to be something that flavors and enhances the now. And it's something you get to experience excitement for while you're in the now and build towards. And you're like, oh my gosh. But it shouldn't be your everything where you put everything in your now on hold and just like do nothing while you're gunning for your dreams, if that makes sense. Because in a way, like, the future and your dreams for the future are like a flavoring that enhances your now. And it doesn't mean don't go towards those things and don't work towards a better now. It's like, what's the proper balance between those things? So anything else that wants to come through for the collective? They want one tarot card. What's at the bottom of the deck? Okay, so I'm going to shuffle it again, but stay away from this energy. It's like, sometimes it's like, here's what I'm getting. Try not to avoid all the pitfalls. What do I mean by that before you just start falling into pitfalls? Sometimes you can't control every little thing that's going to happen. You can't try to negate every little possible thing that could possibly go wrong. And it's kind of wasted energy to look at every single thing that could possibly go wrong and try to prevent it. Because then sometimes you just kind of like, it's almost like you're a mummy, you're wrapped up and you can't do anything because you tried to prevent every little misstep. It's more like, yes, be smart and wise and follow your intuition, and a certain amount of risk prevention is wise, but it's like, don't overdo it to the point where it's like you're looking at all the little tiny details and trying to avoid all the little tiny pitfalls, and then like that in itself is the pitfall because you didn't do anything. Does that make any sense? Or you didn't like that's pretty much what I'm getting to say. Anything else? So I don't know if you guys have been worried, but I'm getting like 10 of Swords and 9 of Swords are also popping out here for the collective here. Honestly, stop worrying are the words I get. 2, it's like, I get the words not over, where it's like, you might think you're defeated in some areas, but you're not, at least for some of you. You're kind of meant to traverse this and overcome it. Like any feelings of defeat, any feelings of like not good enough. And in some, for what I'm also getting for many of you is like, you're worried, 9 of Swords, about this, 10 of Swords, but it's not going to happen. You're actually going to skirt around some of like the worst of what could happen is something I'm getting as well. That's kind of the reading I've got. So I kind of want to pull a card for the future. And like, it's kind of what I said already, like things are going to pick up with the 8 of Wands. It's also communication for some of you, but things are going to be moving forward again. Okay, hope that made sense for everybody. But that was the collective message. Ooh. So I hope that resonated for you guys and helped. Ooh. Oh, you're welcome, guys. As always, it was a beautiful experience to be here with you guys. I'm so grateful to the mods. Again, I'm grateful to you guys who, when do you upload to YouTube? I miss a lot. I'm gonna get better at that. I'm gonna try uploading. Sometimes the lives don't download well from TikTok until a day later. I'm gonna try to upload everything today because I think I have a bunch of readings tomorrow anyways, and then it's gonna be 2 days, and then it's gonna be Thursday, and I'm gonna be like, oh, what do I do today? And then I'll be like, oh shoot, I haven't uploaded those lives from 2 weeks ago. So I'm gonna try and do it tonight if I can, and just get it out of the way. But that'll be up soon here. When is your next live TikTok? So I do this every Sunday, 10 a.m. Central Time. I have one midweek. I might do a general reading this week or throw something in. I also am trying to incorporate just hangouts where it's not so much readings. It's more like general questions and just hanging out, and I'll just channel, for people that way based on like general questions and different topics. On Mondays, I might be every other Monday. I'm not sure if I'll do it this upcoming week here, but maybe next week. So we'll see. I'll put that in the little schedule thing on my TikTok bio. So, all right. But thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure and a joy once again. Mention your great book, please. Okay. So I do have a book that I channeled as Spirit Guides, Angels, and Speaking with Source. A channeled guide to begin expanding your connection and ability to speak with and channel those of the highest light who are here for the highest good, and hone your other gifts as well. But this is something that's available in my TikTok link in bio. I keep forgetting to self-promote, but it's probably important that I do that. Also, if you feel drawn to getting a personal reading with me, that is something I offer through the link in my bio as well. It's the first link in the link tree to my website, and there's a scheduler there. And you can get a personal reading with me that way if you're interested. Thanks, Destiny. Thanks, Little Moon. Thanks, Emotion Ascension. You guys are awesome. I appreciate that. So anything else? Nope. So I'm wishing you guys well. I hope you guys have a beautiful day and week. And I'll see you next week, and maybe I'll see you sometime in the middle of the week. And otherwise, I'll talk to you sometime in the future. And I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Okay? Water. I will definitely drink water after this. Thank you, Lisa. All right, guys. I am out of here for now. I will see you later. Take care.